5.7 example 10. We're going to solve that 2 sine squared of x minus sine of x minus 1 equals 0. And so it's already set up in a trinomial form, right? You've got your squared, your non-squared, and then your one that doesn't have an x. Okay, so this is, remember we had said before that if you needed to, you could change this to be like 2x squared minus, this is just sine of x, so x minus 1. Factor it, and then know where you put that x. You're going to put a sine of x in its place. But I think we kind of gotten past that. So we're just going to factor this side. It's trinomial. And so we're going to take our first times our last. So we have sine squared of x minus sine of x minus 2. We go to factor this. We know it's going to have a sine of x times a sine of x because we know our first terms have to give us sine squared. My last two numbers are going to multiply to 2 and read it backwards. They're going to subtract to a 1. So it's going to be 2 and 1. Need to be a negative 2 and a positive 1. But don't forget here, because you multiplied by 2, you got to come back and divide by that 2. And simplify it if possible. So we got sine of x minus 1 times, and if you can't simplify it, you throw that number in front of the sign. And bring back your equals 0. And just like earlier, now we've got two things being multiplied, so we're going to set them each individually equal to 0 and solve. And so I'm going to go ahead and solve the second one since I'm working on it right now. And so we're looking for where sine of x is equal to negative 1/2. Now remember that sine is negative in quadrants 3 and 4. So we're going to have two answers, one from quadrant 3, one from quadrant 4. So in quadrant 3, remember sine is your y value, so we're looking for the ordered pair that has y is a negative 1/2. And so hopefully you told me it was 7 pi over 6. And in quadrant 4, we're looking for the angle that has y as a negative 1/2. And that would be 11 pi over 6. So there's the two answers from this piece of it. Now let's go work the other one. So we had sine of x minus 1 equals 0. Got to get sine of x by itself. So sine of x equals positive 1. Now remember, if it's a whole number, it means it's over 1. And r is 1 on the unit circle. So on our unit circle, we're really looking for where that y value is a 1. Well, y is going to be 1 up here at the top, and so it's only going to give us at pi over 2. And so for this one, we had 3 solutions.